watch Survivor, and when the show ends, you really wanna talk about it with like-minded friends. It might be hard to find some, but don't you shed a tear. Check out the Purple Rock Podcast, and this is what you'll hear. John will make some dumb jokes, Andy likes to yell and curse, and if they're not available, the backup hosts are so much worse. Spend the whole time being jerks, telling you you're wrong, and so we got this other jerk to sing you our theme song. It's the Purple Rock Survivor Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to the Purple Rock Survivor Podcast. I am your host this week, Andy, here to discuss the 5th episode of Survivor 47. I've got Emma as a co-host, which means, as you probably already know from the podcast feed you're looking at, this is going to be a long one, so let's just get into it right away. No time for preambles, no time for chit-chat. Emma, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. It's nice to be back. It's been a while. I will say an apology in advance to you and the listeners, as I am on the tail end of a cold still. So I'm going to do my best, but, to try to keep any coughing down. I did a lozenge right before this. I've got some water, so we'll see how this goes.
Excellent. And so nobody worries. John still has a home and all of that. Like nothing else has come and, avoided his house. This was a regularly scheduled vacation on his part, but since we haven't talked to you at all this season, I figured we'd just get you to weigh in on how have you felt about the season so far?
Yeah, I've been having fun. It was definitely an interesting start for me this season. The people who are commenters at least might know that I was traveling, so I missed the premiere, which was very upsetting to me. I don't like doing that. And so, staying off the internet for like a week and stuff, watching it very jet lagged, and then watching the next episode still very jet lagged and early in the morning, a little disorienting. But I was having a good time. And I think this week, though, for me was maybe one of the weaker ones, but maybe that's just because I thought last week was pretty good. So it's just a comparison situation.
Yeah. So what's fun for you so far?
I think there's just been some weird, Rome is a lot, but in a way that I'm still finding entertaining. You also have the people reacting to Rome, and by the people, I do mostly mean Saul. And that I think has been kind of the show in general, has just been each having someone that someone else is reacting to. And that's usually a fun time. And I don't know that I would say there have been a ton of like good strategic moves, but there definitely have been moves and blindsides. And you know what? That's more fun than not really doing anything. So, we're having a good time.
Yeah, and then I'm like, I should do the Marin thing. Like, who are your guys? Who's interesting to you?
I've never actually listened to
Me neither.
Marin, so I didn't know that was
all I know is that's a thing he says in his interviews. But also, I you totally caught me as well.
Sorry, I liked him in Glow. Yeah, my God. Well, I came into the as the one representative who does read the pregame press. I came into the season pro Rachel because she is my age, and as I get older, there are fewer and fewer of those, which is troubling to think about. And also when Mike Bloom in his interviews asks if you could have a loved one's visit from either celebrity or fictional character, she said Veronica Mars. And so I was like, oh, her I like. And then she tried to steal the rice, and I said, her I like more. Unfortunately, we haven't gotten that much from her since then. But, losing her number one ally, maybe that'll spice things up next week. We'll see. Otherwise, I like Saul. I don't know that I like Kyle like as a player, but he's just so amiable. Mm-hmm. He just seems like such a nice guy that he seems pleasant. I'm trying to think of who I could compare him to, and I don't know that I have anything, but I enjoy his sort of naivete. And I guess, Genevieve came out strong last week, so that's been entertaining. Really, the Red Tribe, mostly like entertaining. The Blue Tribe, I don't really like, except Kyle seems nice. The Yellow Tribe, at least the dynamics were very interesting, although now that they've had to vote, but then now that they're probably going to merge, like, I don't know. But there's a lot to think about there.
Yeah, so this episode specifically, you kind of already hinted at it. It was, fine. It was nothing horrible, but nothing particular. Like, we're going to do it, but we're going to stretch to find things to talk about. You might already notice from the breakdown, like this is very going to be by the numbers. I don't have a lot of takes. We'll see. That's obviously going to prove to be untrue, but like things that I'm itching to talk about, it was kind of just was. And, I tried to avoid getting into this too much, but there was definitely some like watching during this. I don't wear a watch. I don't know why I said that. Clock. But it's kind of like, okay, we're still doing this, huh? So yeah, that's kind of what I was getting the sense you were saying. Like this episode wasn't quite doing it for you.
Yeah, but I'd say the season as a whole, I've been like enjoying, and this certainly wasn't as much fun as I think last season ended up being towards the end. Mm-hmm. This was not as bad as the lows of last season.
Yeah, we didn't mire in the Bonu stuff, which it looked like we might have been going towards.
Right, and that has not ultimately been Andy's vibe after that, so good for him.
Yeah, I'd say he's really turned it around, but it's tough for me to say that because every time he's on screen, and I don't know if there's other things going on here, if there's other things at play, but my wife just right next to me, I can't stand Andy. It's like she's it's like I'm gonna take it at face value that she's referring to this guy specifically, but maybe there's just some deep seated things. Maybe it just feels good to say. Hard to, I don't know. I'm gonna say no. I'm obviously doing the hack comedy thing where it's like, wives, am I right? When really, we have a pretty good relationship. I trust that she loves me and enjoys spending time with me. I mean, she listens.
Someone has to.
She listens to my freaking podcast. I mean, she's under no obligation. I mean, sure, I quiz her when she gets home, but still, she could fake it. All right.
Sorry, I had to stop myself. But
yes.
Continue.
All right, I got it. I got the joke.
It was
Noted.
right.
Noted.
It was right there, man. What are we doing?
I'll say,
we're not saying phrasing anymore.
Sure. I mean, I suppose the follow-up would be maybe she can't, right? No long history of faking it. So
I don't know. I feel like it's probably not the case.
No,
this is too much. I don't want to get into this.
Yeah, and I'm not going to edit it. So how's it going? I'll know what I have to quiz her on this time. I'm getting a text. She's going to be like, I don't want you talking to that Emma anymore.
Hey, she likes me.
Probably. All right. So
we've hung out. We're Facebook friends.
The big thing this episode was kind of, obviously, as it is in many episodes, the vote. And I figured that's where we'll start kind of more of the conversation. And I'm framing this in a very specific way, and I'll get into in a second. It's what did we think about Sam's decision to vote Anika? And I'm rephrasing it around Sam because I feel like this was entirely his decision. I know the episode framed it as a Sam and Sierra, and I think Sierra definitely had opinions, but I don't think she had much of a choice here. And the reason I'm thinking that isn't necessarily sexism. I guess, we gotta do some deep-seated, but it's obvious. Anika didn't have a vote and Sam had an idol. So all of the other things about what Sierra should have done or whatever, and we'll get into maybe what she wanted or whether this was good for her, but she could not execute a move without Sam. The math just doesn't math.
Yeah, it's a pretty tough 1-2 punch there. Anika not being able to vote really kind of screws them out of that one.
Yeah. And let's just underscore for the people, because I feel in comments or whatever, I'm sure at this point they've gotten it settled down. People just seem to be struggling with this. And part of it, I think, is because Sierra herself never really gets to it, which was frustrating for me over the past couple of weeks. But all Sierra could do if she's trying to do a move without Sam is force a 2-2 vote. which then puts Sierra herself in peril when she doesn't have to be. Like, it's not desperate that she does, she gets rid of Andy and keeps Anika. Maybe a preference, but it's not desperate. She doesn't I need to do this or my game's sunk. So, and that's what it would be because, as previously discussed, goes to a 2-2 vote, stays on a 2-2 vote. Now the people who were not involved in the vote, so everybody but Andy and Anika, in this case, who wasn't even voting, would be eligible to draw a rock. However, even complicating it further, even if you say she should have done it because reasons, right? And anybody who actually says it at that point is really just speaking what their own desires, because it's ridiculous. No, she absolutely 100% should not go to rocks. But in the calculation she'd be doing, it's well, Sam is probably also immune at this stage. So he would be in no danger. Andy would be in no danger. The only people in danger would be Sierra and Rachel. So it's just it can't be done. All she can do is try to convince Sam, which I believe she did, to vote out Andy. Which is, again, why the decision that happened this week can easily be framed from what Sam's decision. So what did you think about Sam's decision to vote out Anika? Was it what he should have done or no?
I mean, I definitely get where he's coming from because he certainly has the closest relationship with Andy. And I think earlier in the season, his concern about being, down as the three girls and him makes sense. I do think that maybe you can think about the fact that you're probably about to merge as a factor there. And maybe people would be more inclined to split up that trio if they're viewed as a trio, although we'll get into how they are apparently viewed. And maybe, once you get the merge, is Andy that loyal? Is Andy going to be targeted by anybody after what they saw from him? Is Andy going to be very much scooped up from other tribes? All that said, I don't know. I think it's fine.
Yeah,
yeah, for him, there's an argument to be made. He might be in a sort of Genevieve spot where he then is ooh, maybe I don't want to be that tied to this person. But honestly, except for being a little clumsy, absent-minded and not that great in challenges, once he's calmed down, I don't know that Andy is this huge albatross either.
Yeah, I think he's been a good alliance partner for Sam. Yeah, maybe he's not that useful for the tribe, he's cutting the rope with the wrong side of the blade, that sort of thing. That's not great. I'd say in the previous weeks, it was a no-brainer. Sam should absolutely not vote out Andy. Forget the gender politics of it. He would be the fourth person in a 4-person alliance.
Yeah.
That's been made clear. They have a name for the three of them, right?
Exactly.
Which, getting into it again, just stop doing it, please. Not only do I dislike it because it's a Big Brother thing, but it's a trap, man. You suddenly say that and somebody hears it and oh, there's a name for a group that I'm not part of. You just don't want it out there that there are groups that you're a part of that other people aren't a part of. Bad idea. But yeah, this week, you could probably assume that this might be the last vote, but it's just the one question is how much do you assume, right? Because it's always possible. It hasn't happened yet, but it's always possible that at some point Survivor will change the numbering of when they do all this stuff. By the next time when Survivor suggests they're not. Nope.
Wouldn't that be fun if, this whole era where the game is the monster and everything's unpredictable did things a little differently for a change?
Yeah. It's possible that was all just a marketing pitch, and really what it
was
that we formulated a thing that works within our incredibly tight shooting schedule, which is incredibly tight because we found a way to save just a whole ton of money. Yeah, crazy. That said, even if he knows that it's coming, the merge is coming tomorrow, or 90% sure. So then it's I don't really have to worry about the three of them. I think he'd still have to worry about the three of them, right? He was at that reward, Survivor social thing that we'll talk about later. The ladies were already kind of talking a bunch, ladies be doing.
That, yep, women be talking, right?
Yeah, and then like who else is there? It was Caroline, Tiyana, and Sue. Like I could see that being like, yeah, I think I just need to keep another dude around.
Yep, especially as this has been a season where the pre-merge wasn't just like, let's get rid of all the women. I believe Anika is only the second woman to be voted out. So,
yep, 3 men, 2 women.
Which, parody. We love to see it.
Yeah. And again, for Andy's feeding him information, right? Like, so like, I think and the other part of this equation is that he doesn't feel good about Anika. Like, we got that from the time that they stumbled upon the idol together. And I don't think he's wrong to feel that way. Like, I don't feel like Sam figured heavily in Anika's plans.
Yeah, I mean, I think, again, he was above Andy
Yes.
for her, but he was definitely below Sierra and Rachel. So
now,
and the one long list.
Yeah. Now, the one reason to do it is the other thing to come out of that social hour, and we've seen, he's heard from people coming back from journeys and all that, is apparently it's really out there, despite just their monstrous efforts to conceal it, that he and Sierra are a duo.
It's this secret bond that everybody knows about.
Yeah. This vote will do nothing to dissuade that talk.
No, but I don't think the Andy vote really would have either.
Yeah.
So, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I think the only way is that could work if your main concern, and I don't know that it should be his main concern. I kind of feel like the horse has left the barn on that one. But if you're trying to do something to combat that, then the move is to tell Sierra, go ahead, vote Andy with Rachel and Anika. I'm just going to play the idol on Andy. And then he can be there. It's like, oh man, it was a ladies' alliance, and we just got saved by the skin of our teeth or whatever. Or again, you don't even have to play it on Andy. You could still just play it on yourself, and then it gets to 2-2, and then Sierra is like, I didn't want to go to rocks, and she flips, right? So like, you could do that show so that you could tell people about it. But I don't know how much people believe you when you tell people those things anyway. I guess Rachel would then say that's what happened, but.
Right, that's the thing. It's like but then, Rachel would say that so it happened, but then Rachel also then has reason to not side with him, yeah. Because he would have obviously gone against her, much like he did here as well. But in that situation.
Now, what do we think about him not playing the idol? I mean, it worked, so like we can't judge it that heavily, but process,
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I mostly don't hate it. Like, I get what he's coming from, is especially because of the way the idol came to be. It's not just that he didn't tell Andy; it's that, I mean, it's not like he stole it from it. Like no, they didn't know, but like that he found it to keep Andy from finding it, and Andy confided in him what happened, and he said, oh man, I guess one of the girls got it, So that's pretty blatant. You're gonna have to be like, hey, so I was still working against you, but now I'm not. And here's how. Now, we have seen someone like, Tony do that sort of like, look, I was lying to you before, but now I'm telling you the truth. So now you can trust me. I'm not a construction worker. However, so he could have done that. I could see why he didn't. However, again, the flaw in this is Rachel knows he has the idol. They all knew he had the idol.
Yeah.
So she's going to probably be like, weird he didn't play it. And might even be like, oh, Sam, like, you only, like, I saw you only did the one time use. Like, why don't you play your idol? Just you keeping it? Like, what's your plan? Or like telling people about it. Like, hey, if you see Sam was an idol, don't worry, it's not real. Like, this is what happened. And then Andy hears that and yada, yada. And then you're back where you were worried about to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand the fear of that, but I think it's overthinking it. Just play it. Obviously, the big thing is he had full trust in both alliance with Sierra, but also, again, as previously mentioned, full leverage over Sierra in this very scenario. So, like, the risk was low, but why have one at all? Just, I think you could damage control it with Andy. And I think, as you point out, he might still have to damage control it with Andy anyway. So,
And if to really I think then it's like if you play it on Andy, I feel like there's less damage control to do.
Yeah, and don't tell Sierra you're going to do that, and then just and then Andy would be like, "What the hell happened?" It's like, well, at the time, I had to make sure, but I always knew that you were going to be protected, so yeah. And the girls saw me do it, so I had to be careful with. Yeah, I think he was overthinking it. He should have just played it, but it was fine. It worked out. So let's get to the other half of the equation. As I said, I don't think Sierra had a choice in this, so I'm not going to judge what she did. But was this good or bad for her?
Think probably bad, but she's kind of in a similar, but maybe also not, because I think she was third of 3 of the girls, and I think I would say she's probably closer to Sam than Andy is. However, again, we talked about the visibility of that, which is a danger. Although I think once you're at the merge, it's less likely that the woman of that duo gets targeted, and more likely the man does, depending, especially because
the
Sam
type of man he is. Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially because Sam has proven to be good at challenges. That said, Sierra, I don't think is bad at them, and the post-merge challenges do tend to favor probably more someone of her type than his. But people forget that.
Yeah, nobody seems to know that. At least not until somebody like Sam is either out of the way or like working with them.
Right.
And it's like, is he that dangerous though? We'll see, obviously. But
yeah. But certainly like in a mergatory situation or the first vote at the like quote unquote real merge, that I feel like is typically a much more dangerous spot for a Sam than a Sierra. I don't know, I don't actually like believe this, but just in a total like galaxy brain thing, should, especially if Sam was making it, like, had made it clear, like, oh, I'm not going to play the idol, and they know, like, oh, everyone says we're running the show. Should she have actually gone for it and convinced everyone, like, let's vote out Sam, tell the girls, oh, Sam's targeting Anika, she wants to keep Andy, we don't really have the votes that way, but if, Rachel and I do, and I don't know, maybe you convince. And well, again, the fact that Anika doesn't have a vote is really tough.
Yeah, that's the whole thing,
It's really tough. She should not have. I mean, and then again, it's the stupid one where it's just you have to play. You put your hand in a bag, and there you go. I mean, I guess you don't have to go on the journey, except that someone does. Like, it's not like you're trying. So when people are like, "Well, they took the risk to go," and it's like, okay, but like someone has to, and so if no one volunteers, then they're probably like pulling straws or rocks or Rochambeau or whatever, and I don't know, man. It's just I don't like it.
Even like the thing you were thinking out loud, and then obviously by the time you got to the end already went back on, that would have been bad, because like, again, the only way she gets it to work is if she gets Andy to also vote for Sam, right? Like, I think everybody just needs to know that there's no vote that Sierra can do or without a third one. Well, we already know what happens when people say, "Hey, Andy, we're going to vote for Sam." Like, we literally saw that in this episode. And
or
probably
if you
then
want
what
to be
happens
real crazy.
Well, you go ahead. Finish.
Sorry, I was just going to say, like, if you want to be really crazy, do the opposite of what they were trying to do. Convince Andy, actually, you really should definitely play your shot in the dark. You should. I can't. Sam flipped. He changed his mind. He's lying. He decided he does want to vote for you. They're all voting for you. You should, like, I can vote with you, but like, we're only 2. Well, again, it's the 2. Then it's rocks. I'm sorry, I can't go to rocks. So play your shot in the dark. Hope for the best.
Yeah, maybe that is big brain. I think the most likely outcome then is Andy speaks to Sam, and then Sam's like, wow, Sierra just betrayed me. Okay, Andy, we're getting rid of Sierra, right? Like, and he's definitely playing his idol at that point.
Right.
So none of it works, right? So again, there was no move that Sierra could do other than try to convince Sam to not vote out Anika. And that wasn't going to happen. I think she does. I think she actually tries. And I think the best move for Sierra would have been keeping Anika. Then she has all alliance partners available to her. Now, technically, Andy is an alliance partner with her too, but the one she values the least, and I'm fine with that assessment by her part. So, like, I think this is the worst outcome for her, like Anika leaving instead of Andy, but it's fine, you know? The only thing that, becomes a problem, and we touched upon it, is everybody's assumptions of her and Sam. But as you say, I think the only way you get away from that is voting out each other. I don't know that voting out Anika rather than Andy changes anybody's, perception on that. The thing I want to think about is, obviously, like, we learn of this from the first time Anika goes on the trip and loses her vote, that everybody assumes they're a couple. And it was both people that were on that trip with her that was like, hey, they're a couple, right? I can't remember who the other two were.
Rome and Kyle. Rome and Kyle. Yeah.
Huh. Then that couldn't have been, but I guess that's when it was, but those don't seem gossipy.
I do love that, especially because it was like Sue who, that's the thing. And this is also what I thought was kind of funny was was choosing Andy. Sorry, I need a second. Is that, like, if that wasn't it, you know who else was, went on a journey with Carolyn, who is very close to Sue and might have mentioned that. Andy, like, this whole time when he's like, I don't know why, because Anika, what she said is like, yeah, they think you're a couple. And I was like, what? No, they're not. Because they're not. Like, because in that case, it was spread as that they're like a showmance.
Yeah.
Whereas what Sue said at the social hour is, that you're running the show, that you get, like, which is a different statement. And to me, that sounds like it's coming from the guy who's playing up the being on the bottom thing and who said that to one of Sue's top allies. And so it was just kind of all of this. I kept expecting that to turn around on Andy, and Sam just kept being like, I don't know where everyone's got. We do have this very secret bond that nobody could possibly know except for Andy, who's in our trio, and also the rest of our tribe also seems to know that anyway. But
and also
so weird
people that have never really talked to us. Yeah,
right. So everyone seems to sense it, but there's no way they would know that.
Yeah, and I wonder. My thought is why everybody assumed they were in a showmance. Again, maybe there's just vibes, right? But do you think it's just because they're the two white hetero people on their tribe?
I do think that is it.
I think that's 100% it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And look, man, that's probably also why they are an alliance. Like, it works both ways.
Yeah.
But I think people are just kind of clocking them, and it's like, oh, well, that's Barbie and Ken, right?
Yeah, because they were very much like instantly like, well, we're really tight and working together. And I'm like, based on what?
Yeah. And honestly, if you look at the other tribes, there's not, as easy a pairing, I guess like TK, Tiyana, Asia, Rome, but maybe it just didn't be like, no. Especially when it's like TK is like, no.
Yeah. And I think they probably could get the vibes of how people were feeling about Rome pretty quickly too.
Let's talk about Andy, because in this episode he got a nice spotlight edit of the big move that he had planned. He was working. He was working this 10 days, or maybe that was just another thing. But so yeah, his whole plan is to act like he is really worried about going out, so that Rachel and Anika will give him the decoy name. He knows there's going to be a decoy when they're really voting for him. And it 100% happened. They're like, what do you think about Sam? And apparently they bought into it. Like, and again, I'm convinced they bought into that they fooled Andy, because the next thing we will talk about is Anika's, reaction to being voted out. Yeah. There was no doubt in her mind that that she was in the we, so to speak. The whole time I'm watching that segment, well edited, again, what a great comeback for Andy. He's able to talk about strategy and not fall apart. But I'm like, okay, but what does that accomplish? That's the part I failed at, because he was very proud of himself, but I'm not sure it was anything.
Yeah, like, because it's not like he needed to turn Sam against Anika. Like, that was already happening.
Yes.
And also, if it had led to that, like, there were even some people like, oh, how foolish, they fell right into his trap. And I'm like, I mean, Sierra's actually the one who was like, oh, we could tell him Sam. Like, that's what makes sense. And also, again, I feel the need to stress that all three of them know that Sam has an idol.
Yeah.
And so, unlike, say, Genevieve, who didn't like the decoy, I feel like if you were in that situation, and maybe they even did and we didn't see it because that would go against the narrative, like, you could very much tell Sam, like, hey, we know you have a single-use idol, and Andy keeps offering to be a vote. We don't want him to play the shot in the dark. So we just told him you, because we figure you're playing your idol anyway, so no harm, no foul.
Yeah. No, it was fully edited. Like, this was a big deal for Andy. Way to go. But I'm like, okay. So you've convinced them that you are going to vote. All right. Like, I don't know if that was anything. It was, when people talk about what would we lose if we went back to, 60 minutes, it's like, well, I mean, I guess we'd lose the segment of Andy's brilliant move that accomplished nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He does look better with his glasses on, though.
Yeah. He can stroke his chin and like, oh,
Yeah.
look at that. He's deep in thought. And I'll say he actually played tribal council pretty well. We'll get to that in a second, but yeah, like when Anika's like, who owns this? He's like, there was 3 votes. That's 3. Like, what are we talking about here?
I did think that, I mean, we'll get into it, but like, and I get that she was in shock.
Yeah.
But like the whole thing, like she was like, Rachel, was it you? I'm like, babe, you didn't have a vote. Who voted for Andy?
Yeah.
Like, what do you, it should be, like, at least with Asia, like, there were so many different, like, votes all over the place that I can understand the confusion. Like, okay, someone voted for Salt. That who voted for Rome? Like, what's happening? But like, Anika, it should have been pretty clear. Like,
yeah. And again, yeah, full shock. We're talking about it now, obviously. So yeah, your understandable mistakes. But it's like, who did this? It's like, well, who didn't do this? Like, it wasn't a close vote, Yeah. In that moment, you must have forgotten that you didn't vote. Like, this isn't, like one, like, person blindside. Everybody blindsided you but one person.
I did, like, Sam, who this whole time has tried to be like, oh, I got to really lower my threat level because of how I'll be perceived. And then when she goes, like, who owns this? He, like, raises his hand. I'm like, you'll never be Jay.
No.
Get out of here.
But maybe in that, he's protecting Sierra, because that was, like, her big concern.
Right,
the awkwardness is staring down, like, yeah, I get it, but, like, this is the no-cost time to portray somebody,
Right.
She's not going to be on the jury, so, tough moment, and, full credit to Anika, made it as tough as it gets, but she's gone now. How'd you, what was your reaction to her reaction?
Damn.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a take here.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Oh, that was heavy. Yeah, I mean, I said this online, like, I don't think we're ever beating Michaela, and not only like Michaela's reaction, but Jay's owning of the moment, which this had sort of both of that, like the B team version. Like, I don't think we can beat that. Because that was an all-timer. If for that to be pre-merged too. But it will make her more remembered than I think she probably would have been. So on that, I say good for her. And she also has like Disney princess eyes, so that's also nice for her.
Yeah. And it was fully genuine, so that's cool.
Yeah, it
There's
definitely did not
nothing like practiced about that.
Like, wasn't it like I think it was Drea felt like so drawn out, like it felt very mannered and like, oh, I'm making a moment of being like, wow, it just kept talking, or like Danny from season 44 randomly doing a De Niro impression.
Yeah, that was weird. But within
that
character,
was
I
weird.
suppose.
Yeah, that was weird. Whereas like this is more in line of, although I think more emotional, but more in line of a like Kelly in 45, like what the hell, guy? Like just the instant like what or
complete disbelief of what's happening. You could see her, and bravo to the show. Like they played it all out, no edits.
Yes. Yeah, they let it linger.
Trying to calculate what happened. And what's great is like she had, again, as repeated, 3 votes to figure this out, or at least 2, right? Seeing one is like, well, I guess we didn't fool Andy. You had to vote somewhere. But that
right, and she did
one,
get a vote in the first tribal too.
Yeah. So she should have had time, but nope. Still like not moving, all of that. So yeah, no, it was a pretty good moment. This leads into like what wrong for her. Obviously, we've touched upon it a bunch, and it needs to be remarked on. I think it's only fair. Not having a vote really cut down on any of the options that would have saved her.
Yeah, and what's tough is there's really not a ton there that was her fault. Like, I can't remember enough if she was like, please send me on the journey. But it's like, sometimes you're picked by the other tribe too. But anyway, that whole...
Yeah, I mean, in retrospect, I'm sure, again, there's no real criticizing it in the moment, but I guess she should have reached in the bag again. She didn't need that.
Yeah, I guess so. Otherwise, and like, I mean, she has said in her exits that she, in that first vote, was more wanting to keep John versus Andy, but, was outnumbered and you don't want to push that hard. And I get that. But you know what that has shown me is you really want to get rid of those Andys when they do the weird thing.
Yeah, it's really tough to keep an Andy around. No doubt about that. Look, so yeah, not having a vote, but, like that's doesn't mean that the vote, like they didn't vote for her because she didn't have a vote. So there's still reasons why.
I do think it made it easier, but for Sam, because it did come up a little bit, like when Sierra's still trying to push it back, he kept being like, and you're sure Ani doesn't have a vote? Like you're positive? So it certainly didn't help.
Yeah, like I think that's why Sierra couldn't save her, That's why, again, all the reasons why it was Sam's decision. Now that said, like even if she has a vote, Sam could still eliminate her with that idol, right? As long as he decides to work outside of Sierra and not tell her what's happening. They vote for Andy and she still goes home. So it still boils down to the fact that Sam wanted Anika gone. Why? And that's where, like, I think there are parts of her game that you can critique of why she failed. I think she put too many eggs, no pun intended, but it works nicely, in the breadwinner's basket.
Yes, I was gonna say that as well. And I think not only trusted too much that they were doing the all girl thing, and how that would probably, it's tough to make Sam really feel like they're an even 4, but also maybe not quite clocking just how much Sierra was tied with Sam, which also could indicate that she was being too clearly with Rachel rather than them being like a real trio.
Yeah. And then we see Sam and then later Sierra make efforts and inroads to bring Andy in. And again, all we have is the edit. I'm not saying nothing happened.
And that she never spoke to him again.
Yeah. But clearly, I think we can say that if she did try to make inroads with Andy, not as well as did Sam and Sierra. So
right.
And I think it's just, she had it and like, this is good. She's got her plan. This 3, it's great. And it's like, that's not enough in this tribe. At the very least, keep the options open. And again, maybe she did a bit, but not enough. And more, once you don't have a vote, you should know that 3 isn't enough. Like
right.
And again, I don't know what she didn't do. I don't know what they didn't edit, but I know whatever she did do to make inroads with, her own inroads with Sam or Andy, as opposed to outsourcing it to Sierra, wasn't good enough because both of them were very excited to vote her out. So Well, yeah, again, if she had a vote, maybe it wouldn't have gone that way because the three women could have voted together. But as I said, that's not a guarantee. Sam still could have disrupted that with the idol, and thus she still would have went home. I think the biggest thing where it went wrong is she didn't make enough bonds with the very tiny amount of people that she has in her on her tribe, and not as well as say Sam did. Although Sam, maybe just as well as Sam did, but Sam had an idol.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess the thing is, and she was right next to him. So I guess the big problem was not being the one to grab the beware advantage.
Yeah. And again, like, I'm not burying her or anything.
Right.
It really could be, yeah. He was on this tree and she was on that tree.
He is taller. Like,
and that's freaking Survivor now. What are you going to do? All right. So we did have a brand new, never before, first time ever in Survivor twist this episode. What'd you think of it?
Whatever, man.
Accurate. That's the accurate reaction.
Like, I mean, on the one hand, well, people were like, bummed it's not a swap. Like, I'm too for an extent, except I think swapping, because we know they're just going to do stupid merge. Like, if they had actually switched things up and, like, swapped for even 2 votes, and then did a normal merge at 12, or even if they still wanted to do mergatory at 12, I can't remember the numbers, and like not have the first person after the merge be pre-jury or whatever. Like, these are things that have happened in other seasons. Then it would be fun, to do a swap, but I think swapping for just 1 vote is kind of lame anyway. So in that sense, I guess that helps mitigate the disappointment. Also the fact that they kept saying never before seen, and people kept being like, well, but we've done 3 tribes to 2 before. I'm like, well, then that's probably not what it is.
Yes. I think they can remember that much. Yeah, right. I actually anticipated this was it. Now I will say I saw like the 2-minute preview of the scene, not where they like announced what it was, but just
that it's divided. Yeah.
Yeah. And like some of that we already obviously saw in the next time on Survivor, but just basically I got like 30 more seconds of it just because I was looking for a screenshot. I'm like, oh, I bet it's just for the reward. Because he said at that point, he says, welcome to the reward challenge. I'm like, okay. Yeah, it's not really a thing. But I will say, like, it's not a thing worth getting upset about either. Yeah, maybe it'll have some long-term consequences. The conversations around cornhole or whatever. Actually, I think it's definitely going to have some consequences that we'll get into really quick here. But other than that, like, I don't think could ruin the game at all. It's not ruinous, so like it's fine. It's better than a journey.
Yes, I agree. And I'm willing to see like how it affect, I feel like that's a factor. It's like, will this, like, I don't know how long they actually spent. They only had 1 hot dog.
They call it the Survivor social hour. So
right. Was it actually
how literal is that, or was it several minutes? Hard to say.
Several hours.
Definitely not several hours.
That's too long. Yeah, I don't know. Like, if it affects it, it that's great, and if not, it's just kind of a nothing burger.
Speaking of
which
nothing
also,
burgers,
it's also apparently what they serve.
What? Come on, like, unless you actually have Jeff at the reward saying, "And none of the fixins," like,
like
throw him some ketchup packets or something, ketchup. Man. Like, I just like, it's just cheap. That's all it is. This is the rotisserie chicken that they brought in.
That was ridiculous. You know who probably loved that there were no fixins, though? Sam.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I've never had that before.
Thank God, no fruit.
Yeah, my wife was like, yes, because she takes her hot dogs plain. I'm like, I mean, live your life. But like hot dogs actually aren't that tasty. I mean, you.
I literally don't know, actually. Yeah.
But it was cute seeing Kyle being excited for the veggie hot dog.
It was cute. Also,
it fucking looked horrible, but it was cute.
It looked so bad. Granted, like I like and I mean when I stick
up like clay, like not formed.
Looked so bad. But I have been in the situations where like, well, this is the thing I can eat, so I guess. And it probably wasn't good. And he probably has a more normal palate than I do, but still, yeesh. But yeah, like not only, I was like, oh, I literally don't know about hot dogs. Like I only stopped eating meat when I was 17, so I had opportunity. But even as a kid, I was like, that doesn't look good. I don't want that.
Such a weird child.
I know.
Hot dogs are like that. Yeah, give me that and chicken fingers.
I ate chicken fingers. I love chicken nuggets.
Yeah, they were shaped like dinosaurs.
Not normal kind.
Yeah, what's great about dinosaur chicken nuggets is, of course, the dinosaurs became birds. So, it's really just
A prequel?
older form of the chicken.
Yeah. I mean, not to tangent too much, but I thought so it's possible I've had a hot dog in my life, but definitely not in like once I like had real could form memories. Because I thought I had never had a hamburger in my life, and then my dad, in like going through boxes of stuff, like found a note I had apparently dictated to the tooth fairy when I was 4 3/4. That was denoted how I lost my tooth, but like truly lost it after eating a hamburger. And I was like, what do you mean?
I think that's your villain origin story right there.
Yeah, I was like, that might have been the last hamburger I ever ate.
You became the Joker in that moment.
Yeah, so have I had a hot dog? Couldn't tell you, but I'm pretty sure, but like not in my knowledge base. And they just never appealed to me, even when I ate meat. I was like, I don't want that. Neither did hamburgers.
Yeah, so just
neither
you guys,
did bacon.
Like playing at home, although if you've read the breakdown, you already know, like, this is why we're not doing any kind of top 3 about food. Because like
offered, and he
I know,
said no.
And well, it depresses me to talk food with you. I'd rather talk movies with John if I'm being honest. I mean, maybe the veggies and fruit thing, I would have brought you in on that.
Yeah, I like vegetables. Well, I like
it's the thing.
some
You're
vegetables.
a vegetarian who still doesn't eat that many vegetables.
But like, there are some I eat, and I eat fruit. Like, what kind of freak is Sam who's like, I've been around watermelon, but like, what do you think's gonna happen to you?
Apparently, the same kind of freak John was at that age. That blew my mind.
Anyway. Like watermelons, I will like house a watermelon. Like, you get me one of those like personal watermelons, chop it in half, throw me a grapefruit spoon, and that baby is gone.
What's not to feel appealing about it? It's like this red, like, pleasing looking thing, and I'm like, nah, man, I ain't having that. It's water. It's really not hard. Anyway, back to Survivor being shitty about this. So yeah, no condiments. I obviously I would have eaten it, but I'm like, this isn't a hot dog. And Tiru was like, just one each, really? Like, what kind of shit ass barbecue is this? Frankly, usually how it works with barbecues is more hot dogs than you have buns, because the numbering doesn't work out. And I know, like, I'm not going to go too deep. It'll start to sound like an 80s stand-up routine, but it's
what's the deal?
With the buns. There are 12 in the buns, but there's only 8 in the bun.
Or you just become, when that Steve Martin in like Father of the Bride has like a meltdown in the grocery store over the hot dog buns.
Nah. Anyway, so like, if you're gonna do these things, Survivor, like, I understand it doesn't have to be that deluxe. We already knew that when you said the reward was hot dogs. Okay,
like, I was like, how expensive would it be to like buy a couple bags of chips? Yeah. You know.
Again, like,
a single, like, a large watermelon.
That would see. Even if it wasn't the plan, they should have had watermelon.
Right,
there.
because
once that convo was going down, like, oh my God, we got to break this. We got to show the moment when Sam is confronted with watermelon.
What an opportunity.
Like I want to see if he wins the pizza reward, if he'll touch the pineapple. But yeah, no, like, it's just hot dogs. And somehow you found a way to make it seem less than and cheap. You already did when you said it was a hot dog reward. Like, again, like, we can't spoil these people with flavor. And look, man, I get it. Like, when I go on vacation and we're going to make hot dogs, and it's like, shit, I got to buy like a bottle of ketchup to use it like twice, or mustard, same deal. Cause like we didn't pack it. But like, I feel like you had 7 people, it would get used. You could probably just like throw it over to the staff afterwards. I bet there's some in Ponderosa. Just like throw it in a bowl. It's just sad.
Grab the one from Crafty. Like, it's fine.
I understand you're an extreme cost cutting move. I think you could have spared the $5. All right. But yeah, though I think the one thing that'll actually come out of this is Tiyana just fucking was terrible at that thing. What the hell?
I don't know, man.
What kind of crazy own goal was that? It was not drawn out of her. She just offers it. She was hot dog drunk and just going for it.
She's like, these are all the people. I was like, that's everybody but one person, Tiyana. What are you? What are you doing? Like, you guys voted once together, and Gabe was in on that vote. Like,
all you had to do was just talk about TK and like, oh man, he was a lot. And everybody would be like, oh yeah, he was. We could tell. You didn't have to do this. And again, if you want to do it, that's the thing. She wants to do it, right? Like she's done with Gabe. She can't stand him. You can't do it in front of everybody. You kind of have side conversations. That's how that works.
Yeah, like that's when, when people are playing cornhole, apparently, or just hanging out after they've finished their one hot dog. Yeah. Yeah, it was not good, and that's why, again, everyone on that tribe is like, I mean, at least Carolyn seemed to have a head on her shoulders there of like, oh, maybe you should get ahead of this. It'll probably come out. And then to do the half truth is stupid because, again, like if it comes out, like they'll be like, oh no, it was in front of everyone, which of course, Sue had already tattled. But like even if Sue hadn't, like everybody else on your tribe was there. Like he might talk to somebody.
Now, I will say that begrudgingly, I'm not happy to say this. It shows that Gabe's original plan worked 100%. Why he outsourced the getting Tiyana over to the TK vote to Carolyn and Sue is because he wanted Tiyana to believe that she was in all women's alliance. And apparently Tiyana felt that. She felt so secure that she was with those three. It's like, I'm just going to start talking Gabe here, Which
is funny because then she also apparently still feels totally fine with Kyle, even though she voted against him. Which that's the one person she probably can trust there. But in theory, like it wouldn't have been crazy to think that maybe Kyle, who would reasonably think he's on the bottom and also lost his vote, would go back to Gabe, and say something.
And then it's just also endemic of like modern Survivor that I don't know that I'll ever get used to and truly will never understand. Like people just can't wait to be telling people stuff. You didn't have to say anything in this regard. But now she's just like, oh, is this the part where we just spill all of our secrets? Let's go. I wonder if she's like Gabler pilled or something and is like, hey, it worked for him, right? Where she's like, yeah, I don't like Ellie. And it was just like, bam, winner,
But even then, at least like Ellie was someone that everyone at that table could vote for.
Yes.
That day.
So I do think...
Which is not the case here.
No. It's like, you don't know when you're going to tribal council. You're certainly not going with all these people. Necessarily. Yeah, so I think the social hour will have some consequences in that I think Tiyana's done in this game.
Yeah.
Now let's skip ahead to that and then we can go back to some other small things of this episode. But like, so unless the previewers are messing with us again like they did last week, how dare. This is the end of the tribe phase of the game. Again, I guess we can't guarantee that it won't be a merge, but it probably won't be a merge. But we're done with the three tribes. Who do you think, if anyone, is well positioned now, going into this next phase? And spoiler alert, not Tiyana.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Kyle, just because he's like, I could see him definitely being the type of person, how like, when Charlie very much could have got swap screwed and everyone was just like, wow, I really like Charlie though. Like I could see like in a merger, they're like, oh, I like Kyle. Like he seems nice. And he said he was on the outs though, so maybe we can pick him up.
I think what's working against him though is obvious challenge ability.
Sure, yes, for sure. But if he that'd help. Yeah, and again, because the merger is so hard because like half of these people would be immune, so who fucking knows?
It actually is tough because
I
there's
kind of almost feel like
here,
everyone,
right?
yeah, like it kind of feel like everyone is in like a medium position, except for like a couple people who are in bad positions, like Tiyana. Like,
I think obviously we have no idea, who will be eligible to be voted for or whatever. But I think if Tiyana is eligible to be voted for, I think she's gone.
I think Sue is actually probably in a pretty good position.
She has an idol.
She has an idol. Nobody knows she has an idol. She will probably be underestimated, because she's 45. I do hope she says that to like Saul, who's like 42, and is like, what?
Like white people, man.
Or like even like I'm not sure how old Genevieve is, but like again, Rachel is 34. Like, yes, that is younger than 45, but like being 34 myself, like I've seen 45-year-olds.
It'd be funny if she says it to Rome and he's just like, damn,
I mean, that's like kind of what Kyle did, and he just had to work around it. Wow, that's incredible.
You should be so proud.
Good Lord willing, you've got a lot of time left. Like that was really what he said. Like would make no sense because, like, yeah, that's what you'd say to like oh yeah,
person.
you're 30, so that means you've got plenty of time.
Yeah. Whereas, yeah, if you think about what he said, it's like, he's clearly assuming that she's like overcome some really hard tribulations in life to look this way at 45. I think John, was dancing around it, very wise in his part, but I can't do it, man. That woman said she was 45.
Like, and look, I think Chrissy said she was like 39 when she was like 45 or something, or
a little more believable.
A little more believable for multiple reasons. 13 years is a lot of years.
It's a lot.
Like, I am not, if I go on Survivor, first of all, it'd be a weird thing to do, but like, I would not be like, yeah, I'm 21. Yeah. It'd be like, you have gray in your hair. What do you mean?
Yeah, like, I suppose with young people, maybe you should get away with it just because 45 also seems super old to them. But, like, again, like, I'll be 47 in, like, a week.
Yeah, when you said you were on the wrong side of 45, I was like, oh, damn, Andy's older than I thought he was.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about it. Time keeps moving, right?
Time really does keep moving, man. It sucks.
Yeah, slipping into the future.
Remember when I was young?
Only slightly, because as just discussed, I am very old. Remember when my tiny child was showing you Pokemon cards?
I do. He was such a cutie pie, and now he's a big grown-up.
Taller than me.
Is he really?
Yes.
Shut up. That's fucked up.
Like at least 2 inches now.
That ain't right.
Yeah, he's old, Not yet able to drive. But, like, he could learn. Like, yeah, he could get licensed to learn.
And guess what? Man, I wasn't the main person on the rental, but I did rent a car.
Yeah.
And
no extra fees.
There were no extra fees. I checked the box. I said, no, I'm over 25. But yeah, that's like, for the old heads.
The peers from my Facebook groups, like from school, they don't look like Sue. Like 45 is ridiculous. And I do shout out to all the people who's like, maybe 45 is just a real favorite number of hers.
Like 48.
Yeah, at least
just
like
the 3
random.
Would still be like, yeah, that's the thing to it being like a round number. And like
you don't say you're 6 feet in your dating profile. You gotta pick an inch, it can't be so round.
You don't have your fake ID say you're 21.
Yes.
she was talking about her grandchild. And again, like, I know you guys got into this, and this is last week, and I know it happened, but like, like, Laura Moret was a grandmother, but that was a story. And that would be like, and I don't know Sue's life story. Maybe, 58. I don't think my mom was a grandmother yet at 50. Oh no, definitely not. But like, my parents were kind of old, and like, my brother did have kids relatively young for a coastal Californian, but she still wasn't, a grandmother at 58. So like, sure, there's stuff there, but like, you'd 25 and you'd have to be like, yeah, I was 20 and she was also 20 or something like that. Like, because it wasn't a baby.
Yeah, I mean, I have high school peers that are grandparents, at least one. Yeah, teen situations, right? But it's like, you don't look 45, and whoever has told you that in life has done you a great disservice, unless they did it like 5 years ago. And again, as previously mentioned, time keeps on slipping. That is actually getting back to the Tiyana part. Is like, as bad as Tiyana played it. Like, Sue is pretty annoying. I don't like Sue. I don't.
No.
And whenever she's just replying off on a rage, like, Kyle wronged me, Tiyana wronged me, it's like, shut up.
I can't believe she threw Gabe under the bus. It's like, I don't know, man. Who cares?
Yeah. So, yeah, I think I've seen little bits and pieces out there, or people are picking her as the winner, and I just can't believe that. Like, again, she's going to be the one that finally convinces survivor juries to, like, that older women have value. Is that the 45 part? Honestly, 45 would still make her the oldest woman winner of all time.
It would.
By a wide margin. Maybe that's what this...
Well, I think by like a 3-year margin. I think...
Oh, Tina was 39.
And then Denise won.
At 39.
Denise was not 39.
Denise was 39.
Really? I thought, but they said she was older. Hold on, I'm Googling.
You do that. But yeah, and I think as time goes on, her inherent unlikability, like, people
42.
will stop seeing her as the friendly old lady and be like, man, this...
41.
Like, at time of filming?
At time of filming.
Okay.
On the Wikipedia page for the season.
That's still 4 years, which is significant.
Okay, well, I said 42, so I was closer, and that's what matters.
Not by Price is Right rules.
No, but like, you were wrong. Like, you were decidedly wrong.
Things can always happen every once in a while. Who else? I think, like, as you said, I don't think Andy's going anywhere anytime soon. I think everybody who witnessed him had a day 2 mat or whatever be like, yeah, this guy's not a threat.
Yeah.
So I don't think, like, he's not well positioned to win. I don't think he can win, but I don't think he's going anywhere. I think, unfortunately, Gabe is probably well positioned because he and Sue can just throw Tiyana under the bus, and then, but I do feel...
Yeah, but I think maybe, like, right at that point, but I don't see him going too much farther.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time. It feels, and again, I want it to be like a comeuppance is coming, but like, what if, like, how would Gabe the Mastermind's edit look differently than what we're getting? I don't want to go there. He sucks. I'm sure he won't win. And I think Teeny is okay. I think some people were concerned about the way they played, talking about, like, I'm on the bottom and all of that. I actually think it's fine. I don't, like, again, part of it is because of the type of player she is. Like, at the point that I've saw out there, and I think there's some merit to it, is in Modern Survivor, hearing that there's somebody on the bottom, it's just like, hey, easy vote. But I don't think she's the type of person that they'd be worried about with that.
Especially, like, I don't know, they are, well, I guess it is, again, pretty even, but like,
yeah,
I don't know. It does feel like, and they have the connection with the, like, which is usually a bad thing, but because of the way the idols work, I could see, and because of the people it is, you know, Andy and Carolyn, I do feel like seem the most amenable to trying to like, excuse me, do something with the idol. The amulet idol Triforce.
I suppose the knock
thing.
is everybody knows who has those things.
Right.
So it's not just like Andy and Carolyn wouldn't sell her out. Like everybody else is like, oh well. But I think I like Teeny's chances to maneuver here, and part of it also because like they seem like well socialized, I guess.
Yeah.
Good at the social aspect. Like I think when they were talking to people about being on the outs, we were like, oh hey yeah. Whereas I think if Andy were doing the same, they'd be like, yeah. I mean, we get it, you know. So. But I think what's actually going to be interesting as we keep pushing up against is there's really no way of knowing how this will shape out because we don't get it like this, where there isn't really much of an imbalance amongst the tribes. One tribe has 5, other 2 has 4. Like there's no numbers advantage here to really suss out one way or the other.
Yeah, and it's really refreshing. I think that actually I maybe should have mentioned with your opening question is it's just nice that there wasn't a disaster tribe. Like that is fun the first like time per era, you know, it's fun in Palau and in Philippines and like, but it was getting tired in the new era because it was happening so much. And
it just feels like too much of the thumbs on the scale, right?
Yeah. So that has been interesting, you know, and it's nice to see like even the stupid Flint thing, like having, you know, I guess more consequences than just like this one tribe is slowly starving. Although even then it's like when you don't have a reward, like what does the fire matter because they don't have rice. Also I do, you know, quick sidebar, like how they'll be accommodating and provide a vegetarian hot dog for Kyle, but also like, all right, but at camp you only get coconut and I guess seafood. Can't possibly provide rice.
They're not providing seafood either, right? So
no, they have to get it, but I just mean like that's, you know, not something he would prefer to eat. There was the secret scene where he did like have a little bit of crab, but like, you know, they're like, oh, we're accommodating your dietary in this way, but like, are there that many coconuts on Fiji? Are they gaming the system? I don't know. They're going to the same beach every time.
Every time. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, how they repopulate the fauna. Fauna, is that it? No, that's
flora. Flora. I don't think they do a lot for the fauna. Yeah, which I think is right.
I'll say in this respect, they're kind of equal opportunity no matter what you eat. We're not giving you anything. So, like in that sense, like when they give you stuff, more often than not, they're going to give vegetarian offerings, but not always.
Unless you have the rotisserie chicken. They didn't hear like, okay, and here's a little tiny tofurkey for you, Kendra.
Yeah. Unless you have your dietary restrictions is food, then it's kind of tough.
Yeah, I was like, except for Liz, it's just like, sorry, you probably shouldn't have gone on the show.
Yeah, but they could have the food from Applebee's. Speaking of burger. Being able to start a fire and cook food, let's talk about the eggs. It is truly hilarious that they got this reward and then couldn't enjoy it. Like, that's fantastic. But let's get to the negotiation itself. What did you think while watching that whole bit going down?
I mean, first, I have seen, you know, that apparently the amount of eggs per how much chicken provides in calories is quite unequal. But I admit, like, when Jeff said 15, I probably would have been like, deal. Like, that seemed
when he said 12, I would have been like, sold.
Right. Like, honestly, that seemed so much more than I expected.
I thought he was going to be like, get the fuck out of here.
Me too. I thought it was crazy. And
there's no way those chickens were ever going to produce 24 eggs. There's no way they were going to produce 12 eggs.
Yeah, I guess the comparison is the chicken itself. Like, yeah. But I also, you know, I mean, I'm biased here. I do wonder, like, when it's things like that with Sierra, like, I'm like, but do you eat chicken?
Oh, yeah, 100% she does. She just does.
Like, Big Wendy situation. Like I'm really close to the chickens I see at the vineyards, but the ones I see at the grocery store are fine.
Yeah, like, I mean, she never said she doesn't. I'm assuming she does. And, like, to that level of hypocrisy, I get it. Like, I eat all sorts of animals. I don't kill them, but
Right.
but
But
if
I
I
can
were
see
on
allowing
Survivor, I'd be more than happy that somebody would do it.
Right. Like I can see like I would prefer not to. I don't want to be there when it is happening. I'm not even sure I feel like I would probably do it like Jen did in Worlds Apart, be like, all right, y'all have fun. I'm gonna go away
Yeah.
during this time and find an idol. Which obviously wouldn't have happened here. But a little silly. But start your fire before you go to the challenge.
I'd say the one thing is we don't know that they didn't, right? Like,
I mean, they said explicitly in the episode, like, oh, we usually start a fire every day and we didn't today.
oh man, I missed that. Again, these things are too long. I drifted off, but I believe you 100% that it happened.
It did.
Yeah, especially when you know that you're going to try and get eggs.
Right. Like, which you would ideally, I'm like so stupid because I was like, at first I was like, oh, well, I guess thinking about stoves, I was like, well, they can't like cook it on but they could hard boil it. I'm like, no, you need to boil the water.
Yeah,
Again, I also I don't.
If only it was hot enough to just fry an egg on something.
Right. Yeah.
That's a thing. Yeah, no. So what's going to happen here is they're going to go into this not merge situation with 18 eggs or 15. Did we land on 15? Or
they landed on 18.
They got to 18. Crazy.
Yeah.
18 eggs that they're going to have to share with people that didn't win that reward.
That's why, they need to. Yeah, I know, because it's like, well, if you make the fire, then I don't know. Then I feel like you got it. That's when you hard boil them, and then you just run.
Yeah, and just house them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, they still don't have a flint, so I don't know how they're making that.
Well, that's why you have to bring them to the merger. Be like, yeah, guys, let's make the eggs, and then you take the eggs.
I mean, even if you get to that,
you can't vote us all out.
There's 4 of them. Like, I feel like they're not eating. Yeah, they could maybe eat 4. I can't do the math. 4.5 each.
Yeah, something like that.
Anyway.
Be like, oh, 2 of you can have 1 egg each. That's how they'll do the extras. I don't know. I don't. So
the lesson
eggs.
here, and again, I guess it's different if you have the ethics around. You just got to fucking kill those chickens and eat them, and you got to eat them quick. You don't save food on Survivor because you never know who you're saving that food for. Again, even if they you finally did get around to killing a chicken and keeping 2, those chickens are going to be spread around. Like you're not in this time for very long. It's very metaphorical that way. But I believe Tyson's always been that way. It's like eat now, don't save.
Yeah, I think Rob C says that too, especially with these short seasons. They really don't have it's like a lot of times when people are like, oh, you have to play the game faster because it's a shorter season. I'm like, it's still the same amount of votes. But in this case, I think that actually is a factor because it's like, yeah, you have 1 day between your next challenge and whatever, which I guess is maybe why they hadn't gotten around to killing them. When did they win them? Was that 2 episodes ago?
I believe so, yeah.
So it probably had only really been maybe at most 4 days.
Yeah. The other thing about keeping chickens is now that's another 3 life forms that you need to feed.
Right, which they were seeing was a problem and that there was a lot of work.
Yeah. Now, I believe that in some of his negotiations with Sia, I think they've negotiated that the chickens do get fed or something. And I'm guessing, post Australia or whatever, they can't trust the contestants to do that. Because they were eating the chicken feed back in the day. Yeah, so I don't know. It was kind of, like you, I was like, wow, Jeff's went really soft. But as has been explained by Charlie, apparently on Jeff's podcast, which we only know that because the commenter goodly enough to summarize it for us. So much less food, even in 18 eggs, than there is in 3 chickens. All right, I think we've covered most of the episode. What do you think? Anything else kind of you felt like needs to be covered?
Nope, I am good.
All right, well, it's time for a top 3 list. And because this was a big Andy episode, sucked at the challenge, made a big move that was nothing, and probably more significantly, survived a second tribal council, which I got to say, 2 more than I was expecting after being introduced to him. I think it would be only right for us to do a top 3 Andes list. So everybody playing at home, you can define this how you want, except for there's really important caveats here. I don't want to hear any Andrews or Andreas or whatever. Fuck that shit. The person has to go by Andy. Obviously, they can also be an Andrew. I am. But if they are not referred to as Andy, they don't count. You must choose that name. You must keep the diminutive form in order to be an Andy. And there's very much a difference between somebody who chooses to be an Andy versus somebody who chooses to be an Andrew. So, Emma, I better not hear like Andy Garfield on this list.
No, I was in, but you were right to comment because I was going to say, I was like, yeah, which means I can't choose Andrew Garfield.
Yes. Andy's, they're friendly. You hear somebody's an Andy, he's like, oh, that's probably a nice guy. Maybe a little dopey, but Andrew's like, oh, Mr. Fancy, huh? So this is a very key difference.
Maybe the difference is that Andrews are hot.
It could be. I mean, let's see if there's
Garfield,
any hot Andys on your
Savage.
list. I'm going to get started real quick with just an honorable mention. And so my honorable mention goes to Andy Kim. He's a Canadian musician. I think he's been in multiple Canadian Music Hall of Fames that if you haven't heard of, don't feel bad. All I've heard of is his name. I've never listened to his music until last night when I finally played it. Apparently his most streamed song is just a cover of Baby I Love You. I guess he co-wrote and played the music on the Archies song Sugar Sugar, because the Archies are a fictional band. Huh. But yeah, other than it's just a name that I've seen come up, Canadiana and all that. And why it's special to me is, Kim's my wife's name. So when you saw it, it's like, hey, there's an Andy Kim out there. Not Korean, as you would assume. He's Lebanese. He just anglicized both parts of his name. So honorable mention to the legend Andy Kim, who, I don't know, I guess makes music.
All right, my honorable mention is mostly honorable because it might not count, and also I thought of this as we were starting to record, which is Andy's the candy, the little chocolate mints. They're yummy, and I like candy.
Perfect. It's definitely eligible. If it's an Andy, it counts.
Okay, even though it's technically an Andes.
Ooh, I'll allow it.
Thank you.
All right. My number 3, I'm going to go with Andy Richter, because who doesn't like Andy Richter, right?
Mm-hmm. I heard, spoiler alert, but I saw on the good old internet last night, revealed on The Masked Singer.
Oh.
While we were watching Survivor, Andy Richter was getting unmasked.
Topical, but also a great example of what I was saying with the Andy-Andrew dichotomy. He is not
so true. That's actually that is an Andy for sure.
All right, who do you got?
Okay, so this one probably isn't one I would normally think of, but I honestly just Googled a list of famous people named Andy, and then found a Wikipedia page, which was much better than the initial list I saw, which was, and topical for me, I picked Andy Hurley, who is the drummer of Fall Out Boy, because weather willing, knock on wood, fingers crossed, I should be seeing Fall Out Boy on Saturday for the amount of time. I actually genuinely don't know. I'm so cool, you guys. I'm very hip. I'm very happening. And I was never made fun of in high school for what music I listened to. Anyway, right. Andy Hurley, drummer. I know not that much about him, except he's got a lot of tattoos, long hair, short king. Would probably rather be in a hardcore band, but he's in Fall Out Boy instead.
Yeah, it's similar along that lines. I thought about going with Andy Gill, guitarist for Gang of Four, but again, I'd only heard of him through that search. Like, I like Gang of Four, and it's like, oh, cool, they have an Andy, but no, that's not enough for my list. So
See,
instead,
I knew that was it. Like I was a teenager, like they're hated. Like I knew his name, so I think it works. But yeah.
I was not a teenager when Gang of Four were significant. I was not born.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, not surprising. You just told us who you were. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Don't forget that I've read your life journal.
Maybe you had updates of Gang of Four is listening to currently. So my number 2 is Andy Samberg. Just fantastic. He'd have to be on your list. Like,
yeah, he's on my list.
yeah, and again, he's not an Andrew.
No, that's an Andy.
Yeah. All right, who do you got at number 2? Is it him?
Okay. No, he was my one. So I'll talk about him more there. Number 2, I picked Andy Walsh from Pretty in Pink. That's Molly Ringwald's character. Good movie. She's named Andy. I like her as a character better than Andy from The Devil Wears Prada. I wanted a girl.
Couldn't go with Andy McDowell. It's like, you're just not that old.
Just not. Yeah, I mean, like I've seen, a couple of her things, but yeah. The dress. I mean, I don't know if it's because the 80s or what, but she butchered the hell out of that dress. But I respect the upcycling, even though it was bad. And you know what I respect? Not being like, oh, I guess I should just date my friend because he likes me. No, you go for who you actually like. You don't feel pressure to pick the nice guy just because of that. Also, fun fact, spoilers for my beloved Claim to Fame rules. John Cryer's niece and Molly Ringwald's cousin were on the same season together, and I think that's funny.
Did John Cryer's relation win? Because who the fuck is thinking about John Cryer?
No, you didn't watch this season? Oh, right.
No, I only watched this. I've tried one season, and I'm like, this isn't for me. No critiques. No, it's like, it was fine, but no.
No, this season was really like the Survivor 46 of Claim to Fame, in which very few correct guesses were given. I'll leave it there. Although she was a good character, she got robbed. She could have probably gone a lot longer. And John Cryer showed up to cameo at the end. She got eliminated.
He wasn't too busy, huh? They were able
yeah, it's like, I'm in the valley. I'll swing by. Yeah. But yeah, I always felt Molly Ringwald girl should have been like it if any other Pretty in Pink clues came. Have been like, oh, that of a Brat Pack. Oh, that was probably for Gracie's. Yeah, that's definitely not me. Anyway, what's your number 1? Or should I go with my number 1 because that was already your number 2?
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, Andy Samberg. I am definitely of the Lonely Island generation, so he's a big deal for us, and great in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Yeah, Lonely Island rules. He went to UCSC for a little while, so that's fun. I think it's very cute that he and Chelsea Peretti grew up together and he introduced her to Jordan Peele. Isn't that lovely? Definitely was like the quirky guy to have a crush on in high school. And he's funny. Lonely Island is great.
I think he's a good example of like Andy level hot, which is like he's attractive but goofy. Like, again,
right?
Yeah.
He's not getting to the ceiling of the Andrews.
Well, I mean, speaking of Pretty in Pink, like Andrew McCarthy, he's not an Andy.
No.
Yeah. I watched Popstar Never Stopping with my teenage son because he's old enough for that stuff now.
Great movie.
Yeah, it was really good. Loved it. I'm sure he loves watching some of that stuff with next to his mom and dad. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, that takes me back. I watched Snakes on a Plane with my mom and uncle. It's tough.
For number 1, I'm gonna go with Purple Rock Andy. That guy's great. Just love his tits. No, I'll go with Andy from Toy Story. Just absolute king.
I went to college with him.
like the voice?
No, like John Lasseter's son, who's pretty much like looks suspiciously like Andy.
Hopefully in like Toy Story 3, because he looks creepy in Toy Story.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was like his Facebook profile picture was Toy Story 3 Andy. Anyway,
like,
that might have doxed me too much.
What a good kid in 3, by the way. Just
Oh, it's so sweet. Like everyone else was like, "Oh, I cried at when they're all in like the furnace." I was like, "No!" Like as someone who's very attached to like her items, I was like, and I don't cry in theaters, so I didn't like actually cry, but I definitely welled up when he gives the toys away to Bonnie. I was like, "Those are his friends," but he knew it was time.
Well, and we're all growing up.
And I mean, it was like the summer after my sophomore year. It like came close to growing up with the movies. Yeah. And
whereas, like I saw one in high school, so like it was never contemporary. It was always nostalgic for me.
Yeah.
But I saw 3 like with the previously mentioned baby. Not in theater, but like a lot. Not long after.
Right.
He would grab our hand while the incinerator scene, like
Aww.
when the toys are grabbing.
I saw it immediately following in theaters. Immediately following my the funeral of my friend's dad. That was a mistake.
Tough scene.
We were like went with another high school friend. Like we were both, had gone to that, and then we're like, well, now we're in town, like because we'd been away. What should we? So we went and saw the movie, and then we're like, oh no,
the 3D glasses, they are getting fogged up.
I didn't wear glasses yet, but yeah. Oh, 3D. Yeah, no, I didn't. Fuck 3D.
I feel like back then it was like, ooh, 3D. Now I try to avoid it, but I find like a lot of new stuff.
I really avoid it now because
there aren't a lot of screens that aren't showing 3D where I am. You have probably more multiplexes. So
yeah,
like, if I really want the non-3D version, I also might not get stereo sound. It's like a thing.
Well, and I really had the opposite. Like now I don't like it because I do wear glasses. Yeah. And it's complicated. But back then I snob and didn't like it. But I honestly think, I'm not sure, because this wasn't in LA, this was back home, so I'm not sure we had the option.
No. All right, so everybody else share your top 3 Andy's list. Yep. You have your parameters again, fictional characters, products, or whatever, just no fucking Andrews. That's all I'm saying. Or Andrea.
or Andrea's, yeah, so no Andrea Balke.
Again, if somebody goes by both, like you've heard it both ways, but like it really has to be both ways, not just like when like people try to pretend they know somebody by like using that nickname. Like,
oh, I hate that. If you don't know me, don't be
like, oh, Bobby De Niro. It's like, fuck you. It's Robert to you and to most everybody. All right. Yeah. So last thing we're just gonna touch. Obviously, every week we talk about this. You can send us fan mail via the link on our website. We did get several inputs into last week's list of best opening verses in hip hop history. One, just a quick shout out. They thought we were insane to leave out Andre's verse on International Players Anthem. Actually, if John hadn't kind of like shocked me in picking the same Outkast song as I was just about to say, most people would say this isn't even Outkast's best opening verse, although technically the song is a UGK song, but obviously on 3 Stacks is the one that's doing the opening verse. I just like the other one better. All right, so I'm just gonna read off one here and then we will react. Hey gents, haha, joke's on you, buddy.
Wow.
Obviously, me and John.
I know it.
Ben Folds fan here. That obviously, I mean, I'm assuming he's also a fan of Ben Folds. That would be his username as a commenter. There's one bit of preseason interview info I've been holding off sharing at the beginnings because I wanted to make sure you weren't prejudiced against Rome. Maybe you already know this one, Emma. But since we're at 4 episodes in and the taste is still there, I'll reveal that when interviewed by Mike Bloom and asked what his Survivor hot take was, it was that Yule was the most overrated Survivor winner. His reasoning was that the Idol at the time made it impossible to vote him out, so he just had to rely on his social game to win, as if that's a real easy part of the game. Let's see if this can result in Andy calling a contestant a pissant for the first time since Adam Klein. Other than reading it there, I'll disappoint you there. I don't think that's pissant worthy. I'll honestly say it's kind of a chalk take. Like a lot of people say that. It's really not all that interesting. They're wrong. But I hear that sort of thing all the time that like Yule won because he had an overpowered idol. And look, man, the heavily powered idol certainly helped. Especially once they suddenly made it a final 3. So there was no time when he wasn't protected by the idol. But the counter is like in that very season, somebody already discusses a way to beat the idol. Like it's not unbeatable.
Got rid of him.
The rumor is that they did the same in Panama. Like it wasn't on the edit, so you can choose to believe it or not. I'm fully supporting and it's not canon. But yeah, they're like, if we want to get rid of Terry, we just need to split votes. Now Terry was never immune until
Right. He was double
not immune, right? So like it never came to play. And then I'd say the other argument is in Fiji, who had not seen Cook Islands at all, they figured it out and did the vote split. So like it's not impossible. It was Yule's social game that made it impossible because there was never that many people invested in voting Yule out. So they could never execute the very easy way of beating an idol. So it was the social game. I can't
believe you kept me from talking about Yule for that long.
It's your turn now.
Yay. Yeah, so I had known this, I forgot. Like I don't do a huge deep dive. Like I listen to the podcasts Mike Bloom does with Rob and call it a day in terms of pregame. Aside from the initial bios when depending on how much work I have. But yeah, like it's one thing we've definitely heard the like God Idol thing. It is I think the hotter take is so he just had to rely on his social game to win is like very funny.
You mean Survivor? Playing Survivor?
And it explains a lot about Rome. Like, because Rome actually, like, strategically, I don't think it's been doing terribly. And I almost even felt bad for him briefly last week when he finds out Keyshawn was going for him. And he's like, but I've been doing this all for the Alliance. Like, and he honestly, like, he had been loyal, like, that's the like, he had been loyal to them. He gave them information. He let it go that Teeny just took Keyshawn to look at his idol, which is crazy. He's just very socially off-putting. So I kind of felt bad for him there because I just don't think he has the awareness, but, like, LOL. Bro.
Real quick, like that's why, like, yeah, last week the decision to tail Saul, totally strategically sound.
Right.
I had no issue. It's the way he did it with no social grace was the problem.
Like Andrea did that to Malcolm, and it's fine. Also, the thing I always think whenever they're doing that is, especially if it's someone who's like, oh, we want to vote them out, so let's follow that. Like, if I'm Saul, like, keep looking. Like, you're going to be playing it that day anyway. Like, don't. Now I understand his probably bigger issue was just being around Rome, but.
Anyway, sorry, you were also.
No.
Any other thoughts? No?
I think that's the main thing, and we can go, and I will blow my nose, which I am very excited
I didn't
to do.
prepare you for this, so if you don't have an answer, we'll just move on. But do you have a Survivor hot take?
Ooh, the jury can be wrong.
Oh, they can be wrong. Yeah, I suppose. I mean, you just have to accept their wrongness because that's the game. But yeah, for me, there's something about idols I've mentioned before. I can't quite remember it right now.
Yeah, well, let's see if Sam uses his as one.
It's possible, and I'm looking forward to it. Nothing could possibly go wrong. All right, so that's enough of this episode. We've done an hour and a half, which is what the show itself does. So good on us.
Classic Andy and Emma episode.
So yeah, you can share your thoughts on that and anything on our website at purplerockpodcast.com. You can send us fan mail. You like and subscribe. Well, I don't know if you can like. We're not on Facebook, but you can leave comments apparently at different places, and a year from now we might notice them. Anything else from you?
No.
All right. Gonna hit that theme music.
This is the copyright free outro to another niche Survivor podcast.